Howdy YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Gunman. So today we've got this ISUZU D-Max and we're going to be doing the spray painting job on it. So we've got blends on the guards and we've got a brand new bonnet here. So as you can see, we've got a blend on this guard too. What I've done is I've done the edge masking and now I've covered it up with plastic. Now I'll get the wet on wet primer onto this bonnet. As you can see on the inside, I've already done the seam sealer because it's a brand new bonnet. I've prep soldered down, tack ragged it, so we're ready to get that wet on wet primer down. I've got the shade. Alright, so it's been about 5 to 10 minutes since I put that wet on wet down. I went out, I cranked the temperature up in the booth, so I like to put the wet on wet down when it's about say 20 to 23 degrees. So it's a bit of a colder day today, like a cold morning, so I did crank it up to 23, but in summer I'll generally just leave it at say 20 because you've already got the temperature into the panel. But you may have noticed when I was spraying this wet on wet, a big bit of something, it either flew out of the gun or off of the pot. I think I know, it looks like it looks exactly like one of these, right? It does. I reckon that's where it came from, off the side of these pots. So yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed at these PPS2 pots. I heard that they're releasing some new ones that are more similar to the SATA RPS pot. So every pot will have its own new outer case, but as you can see here with these ones, you reuse the outer case, but you replace the inner liner. But either way, so yeah, I just wiped that off with my finger, and I just sort of give you guys a look at it because yeah, it's annoying. It's not that big of a deal. We've got some microfine sandpaper. A lot of the time what I'll do, something that I never used to do, I'll actually denib that base coat these days. I'll do that more than I used to, but I still want to give that a little bit of time to dry because it hasn't quite been long enough. Alright, so I've got a few little bits of sandpaper. I've got some 1200. I might hit it with a 1200 first because it's kind of a little bit deep. One thing I do like about the PPG is their primers. They do seem to dry nice and fast, especially with that LVT 450 thinner. But in saying that, it's not properly dry yet. It's still, you can see it's sort of balling up a little bit. You'll have to give that a little bit of an extra tack rag down. And while we're at it, we'll just make sure there's no other nibs. When I pulled it out, it left us with a little bit of a low section, so that's why I'm sort of feeling it. I can still feel that there is a little bit of a dip there. It means we're going to have to kind of feather it out. That's where the 1200 comes in handy, but generally when I'm denibbing, like small nibs, I'll just go straight with the 2000. And that's feeling better. Yeah, that feels pretty good. So what I'll do now is just give it a quick go over with the 2000. It's going to make the base coat go on a bit smoother. And then what we're going to do is blow it off and tack rag it, and then inspect it for any other nibs as well. Sometimes it can be hard to find the other nibs, but with your tack rag, a nib will sort of, you'll feel it. So I could feel something there, very small, but maybe not even worth picking up, to be honest. They're that small, but yeah, you can sort of feel it. There's a few very micro ones, but by the time we get some color and clear on, I think most of those little ones will fill up. Alright, so we may as well get a coat of this base coat down just so that it can start drying when we're finishing off this masking here. Alright, so that guard, I haven't finished 100% yet, but the bonnet is ready for its second coat of colour. So this coat here, we're looking for full coverage. So what I've always done, my rule of thumb with base coat has always been get it covered and then put another coat on. So if you're using, say, Standox or Chromax Pro, it's all different. You just do 1.5 coats on everything, but this is a standard 3-coat system. 25% reducer is the right way to thin this. Don't thin it down at 15%. You're gonna get like really bad dieback. You're gonna lose all the gloss out of your clear. Just don't do it, guys. Like, I'm mainly speaking to those of you here in Australia. The default on the computer is 15%. It is so far off, right? It's not funny. Don't get me started on it or I'll be ranting about it for days. So yeah, after getting that second coat down, I did find a few other little nibs. As you can see here, a lot of them are just quite small, but I did determine that they were worth picking up. As you can see, just sort of picked these ones up. So again, we'll just give it a blow down and a tack rag. Now, the rest of the bonnet was ready for its final coat, but these spots will need an extra coat over them. So next up, we've got to prep sole these guards down while that's drying. That'll be ready in a couple of minutes to put our last coat down. But yeah, one thing I just wanted to quickly mention is, or a couple of things. Where possible, I highly recommend using microfiber cloths. They give the panels a really good clean down. Like you can even see that. I've given that I like to wipe them with microfiber before I do the masking. Gives you a chance to clean all your edges up, and it pulls all of the dust out of the scratches, if that makes sense. So much better than anything else I've used. Any of these other wipes, the Polytex, they seem to leave more dust behind than anything. But yeah, I've just found that these microfibers are awesome. But another thing I wanted to mention is I highly recommend wearing your respirator when you're doing prep soling, because prep sole or wax and grease remover is generally not seen as being that bad of a chemical. I guess it's not as bad as, say, thinners, but it is actually really quite dangerous stuff. I've even heard from one of the PPG reps, he said that keep an eye, mate, this stuff will be getting phased out because I think it's got like a few ingredients in there which are pretty bad for the environment. With the way everything's going with the environmentalists, they are sort of ticking boxes in chemicals that they don't want people to be able to use. So it's a bad chemical, and yeah, a lot of the stuff that we use is, but yeah, just wear your respirator where possible.
Inspect over your blends, make sure there's no cut throughs, right, when you're doing this, because that's pretty much what it's going to look like when you put clear on it. Take note, if there's a little cut through, you might have to put a bit of colour over it, but these look pretty good. So I prepped the blends up with 800 grit orbital sander and then 1000 grit by hand on the edges. Nice and clean, as you can see, with those microfibers. Alright, prep sole, done. Tack rag and start painting now. Yeah, so that bonnet, all it needs is a final final drop coat. The reason I use the GTI Pro old school TE 21.3, because the other gun just had colour in it, so I just thought I'd use this. But if anything, it's just proven to me how good this old gun is. Absolutely love it. TE 20, man, it's the gun that I've banged on about for years, how much I love them, and nothing's changed. So this is a bit of base coat blender, which is like, yeah, transparent base coat, T490. Because it's so thin, you can see it's drying down nice and fast. So yeah, 20 PSI is a baseline for the first two coats, but then I'll drop it down a little bit on the last coat. You can even wind that fluid in, sort of half a turn, full fan, oh sorry, come in, say 3/4 of a turn. So yeah, that's not even full fan. How good's that fan though? Nice and even. And on this last coat, you're just sort of holding the gun back a little bit more. So you want to use all of that fan. You don't want to go on too wet though, or else you'll get same model. Hopefully you can hear me through that respirator. And that should be it. That should do us for these guards. One more quick go over on those blends. I might just turn that pressure down just to kind of contain that colour. I don't want the colour to float too far. I mean, the colour is actually quite good. I've got a good go-to variant with this colour. And that's us guys, so I'm going to go out and mix them clear up, and we'll be back for the clear coat in a few minutes.
Rightio guys, so it's been about say 10 to 15 minutes since I got that colour down. Yeah, I'm not really in any of a rush to sort of get back in here and get the clear down, because if you leave it that little bit longer, it might only be say an extra 5 minutes. It's going to let that base coat dry out a little bit better, and that's going to reduce any sort of dieback that you may get from that base coat. As I was saying, it's a common thing with all waterborne base coats. Once you get over a certain film thickness or a certain amount, yeah, you're just going to get a little bit of pullback. But like I say, 25% reducer, nice warm booth, so 30 degrees, and you should get pretty good results, especially with the 105 clear. It's a pretty high gloss clear, so I've got the 105 clear coat in there. Like I said, it's a bit of a cold day, so I did decide to heat the clear coat up just a little bit. Got the clear coat up to 30 degrees. Now the inside of this bonnet stays sort of semi-gloss, so yeah, it's not like a matte, but it's just like a really thin coat of clear. I've found this is something that I sort of made myself, so I put around say 20% of that clear in here, and the rest is just thinners, and I found that just makes the perfect gloss level for inside there.
Very good looking gun. We did a giveaway on this recently, so congrats to, I think his name was Aaron, but yeah, so I don't want to overdo it with this inside here, just a little bit. So where I put full colour, like that bonnet, I don't usually tack rag, but where you do your blend, you can see sometimes the metallic just stands up and goes a bit dusty. So 1.5 bar here equals 2 bar here on these DV1s. deliberately going for a bit of an orange peely finish, especially on these guards, because I need it to match the doors. So I'm not going fully closed coat on my first coat. I did another full video on that previously, but yeah. Alright, so now I'm going to give that a few minutes between coats. Alright, let's get this second coat down. So for my last coat of clear on bonnets, I always like to have it horizontal. Yeah, so just keep in mind, I'm not going for the best, most flattest finish on this. I'm not here to prove a point. I'm here to make the car look like it's never been in an accident, or it's never had any repairs or paintwork done to it. So 1.5, maybe go down a touch. But yeah, there's no use in having the guards and the bonnet flat as a tack and having the rest of it all with the factory orange peel. I mean, roof, bonnet and boot lip, sometimes I do just push it just a little bit further than factory, but you never really get pulled up on that. It's more important down the side because yeah, it just stands out a bit more. This clear sort of flows out a bit too, so that you don't have to go for sort of perfect off the gun either, because you don't want to push this clear too far or it can solvent boil on you. That's perfect. I know it's orange peely and it looks like crap, but for this car, that's exactly what I'm looking for. That bonnet looks good, nice and clean too. Yeah, sure, there's a few nibs in it, but there's only a couple of big ones. The rest of it's really quite good. With the price of paint these days, being efficient with your material consumption is only getting more important. And that's good. That looks really good. I'm happy with that. And look at that. We've got maybe 10 or 15 mils left over. So let's have a good look over this job and then we'll just about call it a vid there, guys. So like I say, it's not perfect. It is perfect for what we're looking for this car, but it's not, you know, the best I can do. So we do have like one sort of chunk here We got one big chunk of there. We've got a bit of orange peel, but that's factory. The rest of that bonnet, man, there's barely anything to denib in it. There's really just that one big one. The rest of it, I'd leave it. Sometimes you can get a couple of little ones. As you bake it, they sort of poke their little heads up after a bake. So, yeah, that's not what it may look at. You may have a couple of extra ones after a bake. That's it. But no, that's good. That's nice and clean. So if I had not have denibbed all those nibs, there'd be stuff all through it. So yeah, that's, I don't know, experience and years of experience, 24 years I guess guys, gone into that. That's like I said in one of my other videos, how long did that job take? 2 hours? Or 24 years? 24 years of practice to do it in 2 hours. Nice way to start off the day. How good's that? How good's the gun though too? Absolutely love it. But in saying that, I could get the exact same finish out of every single one of those guns that I've got in there. Or very, very, very close to. So it's not the gun that makes the painter, it's the painter that makes the gun. Real happy with that guys. Until next time, get out there and paint some shit. Gunman out.
I'd like to say a big thanks to everyone for watching, and if you'd like to support the channel further, you're more than welcome to go over and check out some of the merchandise we've got. My personal favourite is those spray suits, so they're a good quality Colad branded spray suit with a Gunman logo on it. There's also hats, drink coolers, hoodies and t-shirts, so be sure to go over and check out the link in the description if you are interested.